Welcome back. Under the slogan, Education for the Sake of the Future, Youth Against Climate Change, the 9th session of the Cairo Climate Change Forum was held yesterday at the headquarters of the German Authority for Scientific Exchange in Zamalek on Wednesday. There are so many things to talk about, but we better let those concerned tell us more about this event and their participation. Joining us this morning is Mr. Martin Bergfelder, Science and Protocol Attaché at the German Embassy in Cairo. Thank you so much, Sir Martin, for joining us again. And also Mourad Farahat, student at Europa Schule. Thank you for joining us.
Mr. Martin, first of all, can you tell us more about this session that was held yesterday?
Yesterday we started again our monthly series of Cairo Climate Talks after the summer break, and yesterday was a very special session because it was about environmental education, raising awareness about the environment and climate change, especially with regard to schools. So a lot of school projects were present, showcased their activities, encouraged others to take part in their initiatives. And there are really various initiatives from recycling to planting trees to...
You are talking about private or public schools?
Both.
Both.
Both. Not only German schools but also Egyptian schools. And there are a lot of initiatives going on, and I think 11 of them were present, and some of them were also on stage presenting their initiatives. And education is really an important part in the fight against climate change and protecting the environment, because it is something that will affect the future generations, and they need to get involved in order to tackle the issues.
Okay. Mourad, you were there yesterday, you attended the event, and you had your own project.
That's true.
So tell us about both, your attendance of the event and what you have for us, the project that you
Well, I'd like to start off with my project, if that's okay. My project is called Youthinkgreen. We're a sub-branch of a main project which was founded in Germany by a man called Mr. Spiering, and he has the support of the German Chancellor Angela Merkel and also the car maker Volkswagen. It is our goal basically to raise green awareness within Egypt, which is why we came together with about 200 students from all around the world last April and started taking in a lot of theory which we're trying to apply now in our school so we can spread the word in Egypt.
To spread this idea among your friends first, your school, how do you want to spread this?
Well, we'd like to start off with our school, obviously, because it's the closest place you can start. And then we want to slowly nudge or spur the change in Egypt, where we start maybe try to make public schools start to recycle or whatnot, basically.
Well, Mr. Martin, there was a documentary that was released or showed yesterday titled Because I Will Live Longer Than You. Could you tell us more about it?
It's a documentary film done by a German team. One is a professor at the German University here in Cairo, and they were essentially following one kid called Felix from Germany, who is leading an initiative called Plants for the Planet, which is about planting trees all over the world in order to tackle climate change and to protect the environment. But they also showed other initiatives by other kids around the world that are connecting themselves also over the internet. Also kids in, not in countries like Germany, not only in rich countries, but also in more developing countries that are really taking matters into their hands, where they feel that the adults are too slow. And it was very impressive and touching for the public, because they made it up to the UN basically. He was speaking in New York, he was meeting Al Gore and Kofi Annan, and so really interesting and good to see that there are kids all over the world that try to push the adults a little bit on these subjects, because they feel that maybe we are too slow in tackling problems.
Okay, Mourad, your project is an idea. Are there steps to be taken on the ground to spread this idea? And if yes, do you need funding for implementing such a project?
Well, we're always welcoming sponsors to donate, obviously. That goes without saying. So far, it's only been a local project in our school where we've independently started to recycle. We've even considered the concept of installing solar panels on the rooftops of our school in order to create solar energy, in order to power our school instead of using normal electricity. So we're always welcome for we're always hoping that sponsors could help us there. And our recycling project is basically, it's been exclusive to our class so far. However, we're going to start making presentations, well, my colleagues and I, to various classes in the school in order for us to start giving awareness or making the kids aware of how easy it is actually to recycle and to help the planet.
Okay. Well, you said earlier that you started your project basically in April when you started to assemble theories and ideas from around the world. Were you aware of the projects carried out by the German embassy and the initiatives and the forum, the climate change forum that you held, that the embassy holds every month? Were you aware of that, and how do you get to each other? How do you get to contact the embassy and start your collaboration?
Just to make things clear, the project did not start in April, it culminated in April. We started out in September of 2011, where we were invited to join this independent project by Volkswagen. And basically, so far we've gone independent, but we're very keen on eventually cooperating with other institutions in order to have a more profound impact on the planet.
Mr. Martin, how do you evaluate Egyptians or now in Egypt dealing with the climate change or protecting the environment in general so far?
I mean, what I have to say is that the Cairo Climate Talk that we are doing since a year is getting so much attention and so much public showing up that we cannot accommodate all people. We are basically a victim of our own success, that so many people are interested, and I don't only see the same people every time, so it's constantly changing. So I have the feeling that there are more and more people in Egypt who are really interested in the subject, and really knowledgeable people also. Before summer we had one event with the Egyptian NGOs, and I met some very, very impressive people. So I have the feeling that put aside politics and whatever diplomats talk on international conferences, that on the ground there is growing interest, growing knowledge.
They are interested, but do we have some active role in this? What do they do?
I think the issue and how it started also in Germany was, you have to think global, but what you have to do is act locally, in your own backyard. And I feel that there are more and more initiatives here in Egypt with people, trying to start in their own backyard, like Mourad in his school. Okay, what do we do with the waste in our schools? We have others that try. For example, we have this initiative in 2 schools in informal areas, building playgrounds and building gardens in the school. We have initiatives that starting some rooftop plantations. I could go on and on. There are a lot of small grassroots initiatives that are popping up more and more, I have the impression, and I think that's the right way to go. That's the same way how it actually happened in Germany. In Germany, in the 60s and the 70s, we had very bad air quality. The rivers were polluted, and the people were protesting against this. They said they challenged their government, and it was not the government who moved on their own, but the government at some point in time said, okay, this is, these are all people that have a vote. If we don't do anything, we will not get our government. We have to do something. So I think this is the way forward for Egypt also, especially in this phase of transition. I think make the voice be heard of those who are affected by the problems.
Okay. Mourad, how was your project received at the event yesterday?
Well, what do you mean, how was it received by the audience?
How did people, how did they react to this project? Did you have a chance to network, to get contacts with NGOs and companies who praised your work, your project, and told you that they could help in a way or another?
I think the response was fairly positive. I've collected quite a few business cards yesterday. And generally speaking, I think we started to touch the people and basically encourage them to help out, if that's what you're asking.
Yes, you got in contact with real world beyond the borders of your school.
Exactly.
Right, so at the end, talking about the future of environmental change in Egypt and sustainable development in Egypt, how do you see it? And if you have some new projects for more schools to participate in it?
First of all, for the schools, I think this was a really, really good event to, you know, to spread the word on a larger scale. For example, the director of this film, who was present yesterday, she got in contact with many schools who are eager to show the film at their schools, for example. Or we were in touch with Siemens, who has developed green boxes for children to learn and experiment with alternative energies, and they have donated some of the boxes and offer training for teachers, so we can trying to deploy this on a larger scale. So in terms of environmental education, I'm very optimistic that this was a good start to spread this word further. Of course, a one-day event will not, you know, change the world, but it was a good step.
A good start, at least.
A good start, I think, and I could see that a lot of people really are eager to take this up. We had also good press attendance. We had companies there who came to me afterwards and said, wow, these are really good initiatives. We didn't know about this before. How can we help, you know? And so I'm optimistic that we can continue to work on this issue.
Mourad, my last question to you. This is basically a personal initiative or personal project. Do you think that schools and curricula in schools should include or enshrine the awareness as to climate change and the dangers and hazards facing our future?
I can say I've had my fair share of travel so far, and in the countries that I've been, most schools have taught, have gone in depth about the effects and the consequences of climate change. I don't know how it's like in Egypt, with the exception of my school, obviously. And I believe it is one of the most important topics to teach children nowadays because it has an impact on their lives more than anything else.
Well, I think it was helpful for us to understand more about environmental change and climate change in Egypt as well. So Dr. Martin, professor at the European School in Cairo, thank you very much for joining us. And Mourad, also thank you very much, student at the European School in Cairo. Thank you very much for joining us.
Mr. Martin Bergfelder is the Science and Protocol Attaché at the German Embassy in Cairo. Thank you for being with us.
So this we come to the end of our breakfast show for today. Thank you all for joining us. Remember to join us again tomorrow, same time, and more on the breakfast show.